Great, thanks, Anna. So as Anna mentioned, I'm the Green Building Program Manager here at Home Innovation Research Labs. Today's presentation is going to be a hodgepodge of different things. We're going to introduce Home Innovation's capabilities broadly. In the first half of the presentation, I'll highlight some of the work that happens in our lab, particularly that related to market research and product testing. The caveat I need to share is that I can talk about how we work with manufacturers and some of our testing capabilities, but due to the confidential nature of some of our client work, I'm not able to share a lot of specific examples. But in the second half of the presentation, I'll be discussing our green product certification and how it helps builders certify to the NGBS green program. And there I'm going to highlight some new products that were recently certified. And hopefully they are pretty exciting to you. I'm really excited about some of the new products that have come on more recently. So for those that aren't familiar, Home Innovation, we have a mission to improve quality, durability, affordability, and performance of the nation's housing stock. And we do this by addressing barriers to innovation in a couple of different areas. So we are a wholly owned subsidiary of NAHB. We've been around for about 55 years. We're internationally recognized. And our clients are government agencies, architects, builders, developers, and product manufacturers. We work across a couple areas of service: market research, product testing, building science research, standards development, and our work as a third-party lab and certification body. So given that our work is pretty diverse, our team is pretty diverse as well. So we have engineers, scientists, economists, lab technicians, and market research experts. I know a few of you on the call may have been out to visit our facilities, but those who haven't, I encourage you to come and visit next time you're in DC for an NAHB or another meeting. We always welcome visitors, and when you come to our facility, we'll take you around. You can see all of our test equipment in real life, and it's much more impressive than what I'm going to be able to share on my slides today. This is our research campus. We're located in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, about 20 minutes outside DC. Home Innovation holds a number of third-party credentials that serve as a testament to our role as a credible third party, and those include IAS, International Accreditation Service, IAPMO, International Association of Plumbing and Mechanical Officials, as well as other recognitions from HUD, from LA, and from smaller organizations. To navigate through the product development process, building product manufacturers sometimes look for outside experts, and given our unique focus on housing specifically and building product market research, we can really be a helpful guide. So we help manufacturers do a variety of market research, and I just want to speak to a couple. So you or your members may already participate in our survey panels of builders and remodelers. We have a one-of-a-kind panel of more than 9,000 home builders, remodelers, and other construction professionals with product purchase and specification authority. This panel allows us to field surveys and recruit for focus groups and interviews in a really fast, just a couple of days. And in addition to that builder panel, we have a consumer home improvement panel with over 60,000 households with detailed home improvement activity profiles, and that allows us to work with manufacturers and kind of hone in on specific market research audiences. Like if they're trying to find a user that purchases a very unique or low incident home product or material, we can find information about them. We also conduct omnibus surveys of builders, remodelers, and households every 2 to 3 months. So by its nature, an omnibus has multiple parties working, participating and sharing the cost, which makes it a budget-friendly way to get feedback from a nationwide audience. And manufacturers that we work with for an omnibus typically get results in 2 to 3 weeks, and they get, between 300 and 1,000 responses. So if you come to our, let me move to the next slide. So in our lab facility, we have a market research component, and we have 2 focus group suites. So here you can see one focus group, and if the slide extended further, there'd be another suite right adjacent to it where the slide's cut off on the right. And this gives us a unique ability to work with manufacturers who might be interested in the viewpoints of 2 different audiences, like if a manufacturer wants to hear how a builder reacts to their product, and then in addition to that, how a particular trade professional or an architect or another audience that they expect has a different reaction, we can put them side by side in 2 focus groups. And depending on the research question, we can even lift up the wall between the 2 units so they can have a combined conversation with everyone at the table after that. And as you can assume, this window here is 1 pane glass, so a manufacturer can sit on the foreground, like in the theater seating, and observe the conversation that's happening with the focus group facilitator. This is what we can do in person, and we recognize that like focus groups are typically limited by geography, so we can tap those that live and work nearby. And then sometimes there's a need or desire to gather professionals from around the country. So we'll go to industry conventions like the upcoming IBS show, and we can work with professionals from all around the country and get a national perspective for our clients. I think the kind of one of the coolest features of the laboratory facility is our observational research area. So in the top right, you can see that there's a lab floor. We have the ability to build a 32 by 32 structure. And the structures that we build are proportional to homes that are built today. They're just shrunken. They're just, the proportions are the same, they're just smaller. And then in the background, you can see that there's 2 sets of windows. There's a 2-story observational deck. So, the saying is the devil's in the details, and that really rings true for new building product development. Manufacturers of building products, tools, or equipment, they can sometimes see costly market flops when they rely on how a product is supposed to perform and be used, and not how it actually does in the hands of a trade professional or it may be a less experienced DIYer. And so it can be advantageous for them to do observational research and see, they might come with a variety of different questions. They might ask, how long does this take to be installed? How difficult is this to install? How difficult is this to be installed in certain weather conditions? And we can set up a observational experience where we'll help track down the right participants through our networks of builders and other professionals and provide the materials so that we can have an experience where a participant is using or installing a product, and we can actually simulate like a rain event or a wind event using some of the other features of the lab floor. And the manufacturer can be upstairs in the observational deck looking down behind one-way glass at what's happening. And our cameras are set up with remote controls so they can zoom in on certain things that are of interest, like if there's a particular issue with installation, they can home in on that, and the participants will be will have like lapel mics. So anytime that they mutter under their breath or say an offhand comment, we'll catch that and get that immediate reaction to the manufacturers that are observing. One of my colleagues who often does the lab tours, he often shares a scenario where there was one time a roofing product that was being installed, and it was kind of tricky, and there was a building professional that was, thinking of, oh, like this isn't the right type of fastener that I want, and she pulled out a sheet of paper and she started drawing the ideal fastener that she would have liked to have to better install that product. And using the remote controls on the cameras, we were able to hone in and make sure that information was passed along and saved and downloaded for the manufacturers to act on when they got back to the office. So it can be easy to make claims about product performance, but sometimes be difficult to demonstrate it. So it's often advantageous for a manufacturer to do product testing or system testing or get an assembly attested, and that might be testing for a particular physical property or, excuse me, to a recognized industry standard if they're trying to be kind of recognized by code. And something that can be advantageous, but in addition to getting a third-party, testing and certification, is the work that we do with ICC Evaluation Services. So ICC Evaluation Service is the premier product evaluation and listing agency in North America, and we have partnered with them. So when a manufacturer wants to get a ESR report from ICCES, they work with us, and there's turnkey testing, evaluation, and listing processes, and it is a really kind of streamlined, nice experience that takes the guesswork out of the type and quantity of testing that's necessary. So I'm going to highlight a couple types of testing that our team does. The first type is structural testing. So on the right, this is an example of our uniform load testing. So we're able to put in a full-size wall segment and pump in high pressure to provide an experience of hurricane strength wind pressure, and you can see the wall segment buckled or bent in a particular area, or and see how much pressure it can withstand. And then on the left, you see a couple people with a high heel truss. Home Innovation was pretty integral in getting high heel trusses recognized by the building code. I think we all understand that using a roof truss, there's a installation time savings, there's a material use and waste reduction benefit, but I think years ago there was a perception that they weren't able to withstand high wind scenarios as well as other types of roofs, and we used our combined uplift and shear testing capabilities to demonstrate that this type of roof truss with a high heel was able to withstand high wind events in a better way. So the shear testing applies loads to the structure to test under kind of real-world conditions, being simulated, and then the combined uplift provides a vertical force as well, so you can see does the roof truss lift up, with X amount of pressure or a higher amount. Not pictured here, but something else I wanted to mention was tension, bending, and compression testing. We have a universal test machine that analyzes a building product's ability to withstand tension, compression, and bending, and we can use that on products of all types, from concrete cylinders to beams to structures. And so if you're purchasing structural plywood that has the blue KCMA product label, there's a chance that those products are being tested through our facility. We're one of several certification laboratories that KCMA works with for their structural plywood testing. So beyond structural testing, there's a number of different material property tests that we can perform. Home Innovation is accredited to conduct a wide range of tests to establish product and material attributes and performance measurements, and we provide third-party documentation of those test results so a manufacturer can communicate their value. So I'm just going to mention a couple on the slide here. So moisture testing, I think everyone on the call knows how critical moisture can be. It can be a real nemesis in today's homes and housing materials. So our lab can test moisture content, moisture absorption, and vapor transmission of a wide range of building products and materials. Next one I want to highlight, coefficient of friction. So manufacturers and material producers need to know how slippery their products become in various real-world conditions in order to minimize potential slip and fall hazards. So we perform traditional measurements of both the static and dynamic coefficient of friction for a given material, as well as more specialized measurements. Linear expansion, so this is the measure of how much a material expands or contracts with temperature and moisture changes. And this is pretty key to understanding how long a product will last and managing consumer expectations for durability. So our testing provides like a basic understanding of how a material reacts to environmental changes. Density and specific gravity. Our team can measure the density and or specific gravity of wood, plastic, and other building materials. These properties are important to understand how they can impact other properties and the related performance of a material. I'm going to be going in more detail on color testing, R-value testing, and hot box testing next. But before we move on, I wanted to mention the air infiltration testing. Another critical factor affecting a home's energy efficiency and thermal performance is air infiltration. So we can run a test to measure air leakage through components such as doors or windows or through assembly such as wall systems so that the manufacturer has an understanding of that infiltration rate. So at the beginning of the call, there was some discussion about net zero construction. You know, energy efficiency today has just become so critically important. And much of what our engineers are working on now is like how we can provide builders with a range of choices to address issues related to increasing energy codes. So we're doing various research projects that include but are not limited into systems-based solutions that allow builders to achieve energy goals at a minimal cost, compliance options for achieving energy efficiency for a specific market, gathering of performance data on energy-efficient homes, developing information to support local code amendments that result in energy efficiency neutrality, and testing of innovative materials, systems, and techniques to achieve increased energy efficiency. So in a market where energy efficiency is so top of mind for builders, remodelers, and consumers, it's important for manufacturers to have independent, third-party credible data that can support their claims of energy performance. So we test the R-value of batt, loose fill, and foam insulation products in heat flow meters and loose fill blowing machines. But then for larger kind of assembly scale testing, we use our hot box. We are able to tout that we have one of the largest hot boxes in the North America. So this is a photo with our former lab director. He's about 6 feet tall. So you can get a sense that this is quite a big machine. And it also has the capability to like rotate and yeah, so that's the hot box. And next, we're going to move on and talk about plumbing products. I think of all the things that happen in our lab, I enjoy talking about like the plumbing products the most because the tests are just so practical and they are so easily equate to like real life conditions. So on the left, you can see our thermal shock machine. So there's 3 sinks you can see installed in the foreground, and then above it there's some water piping. The machine will eject very, very hot water and then very, very cold water, hot, cold, for about 1,000 times. And then our lab technicians will check and see, did the sink crack or break, and see how well it can withstand the thermal shock. And then on the right, you can see someone performing a hair entanglement test. So this type of testing is important if a manufacturer has like a hot tub or a hydro massage bathtub, and they need to be assured that it's not going to present a drowning risk, especially to children or the physically limited or impaired. So the tester has an apparatus with some hair at the bottom. Interestingly, the ANSI standard for this test specifies the length of hair, the thickness of the hair, and that it must be blonde. And then attached to that, there's a wooden dowel, and then there's a measure of, it's like a handheld scale. So the hair gets caught in the jet, and then we measure how much force it takes to pull the hair out of the jet. And then not pictured here, we also do wear and cleanability. So we have a scrub machine that moves a brush back and forth 1,000 times over a sink or piece of tile, and this simulates years of cleaning and testing, and so we'd look then for wear and residual dirt buildup. And then next that I'll mention before we move on is the ball impact. So you might be in a shower and drop a can of shaving cream, or you might be there might be other household accidents that might damage or crack your bathtub or your sink, and we can test for that. So we'll use like either a steel ball or a cast iron pan and drop from various heights or at different parts of the unit to check for chips and cracks of the fixture. So we've been doing the plumbing product testing and certification for more than 40 years. We have the capacity to test and certify a whole range of plumbing products and fixtures against a comprehensive list of standards and model codes. And so whether a manufacturer wants to comply with the building code or increase their quality control or imbue more consumer confidence with a third-party label, we're able to cover them. And then next, also related to plumbing products, is solid surface testing. So stain resistance. We test samples to find out if common household items will stain by placing them on a product surface for an extended period of time and within an environmental chamber, and then attempt to remove them using a series of prescribed typical consumer cleaning methods. So you can see the ANSI standard for stain resistance specifies household items like lipstick and crayon and grease stick and beet juice. And it's not anything that's going to be harmful. It's all stuff that we use on a day-to-day basis. And then the test standard for trying to remove them, it might be clean with a wet cloth or clean with a dry cloth, and then clean with a dry cloth with more force, et cetera, increasing in aggression over time. And then in the background of the photo, you can see a chamber with like a windowed front. So this is where we test color fastness. So because plumbing products may be exposed to sunlight throughout the construction process and or through windows and skylights in a completed home, we test and certify the color fastness of these products. So we will expose a product for 200 hours of iridescence and then check for color change afterward. So up until now, I've been talking about our laboratory services, our market research, and our product testing and certification. And now I'm going to change gears a little bit. So as Anna mentioned at the beginning, my primary role at Home Innovation is with our green program. So many of you may know that Home Innovation certifies homes, apartment buildings, remodel projects to the National Green Building Standard. The National Green Building Standard has several components: lot design and development, resource efficiency, energy efficiency, water efficiency, indoor environmental quality, and operations and maintenance. So we have a NGBS Green Product Certification, which is essentially a pre-approval that a product can help earn points toward a home or building being certified. It's for the manufacturers, the benefits for them are that it's a fairly affordable and straightforward third-party green certification and a tool to talk about their environmental performance with key stakeholders. It also gives them access and promotion among key stakeholders that might specify their products for green homes and buildings. And then for builders and remodelers, and third-party professionals that they work with, the benefit is a reduction in documentation collection and time. So when a green certified product is used, they don't need to do any additional work to verify that it meets that practice. They can just say, write on their scoring spreadsheet the name of the product used and that it was certified, and they don't have to do anything more. So we're able to certify a diverse set of products because if you've picked up the National Green Building Standard, you know that it's really comprehensive. There's a comprehensive set of diverse practices, like 11,000 practices to choose from. Appliances, foundations, plumbing, siding, windows, and doors. And if you go to homeinnovation.com/green products, you can search by practice number, you can search by product category, or you can search by brand name and hone in on products that have been reviewed by our team and certified. So we work with both small and large brands and diverse products. So some of the products that you might be more familiar with include CertainTeed and DuPont and InSinkErator, but there's also some smaller, like emerging companies and more regional companies. Like so up at the top right, that's a product from G.S. Harris. They're a stone manufacturer. They're smaller. Stone manufacturers tend to be kind of more regionally focused. So in my last couple of minutes, I'm going to highlight a few products that were recently certified that I'm excited about. First is Vertical Field. They are based in Israel. They're a company that has a modular living wall and green roof product. So this product can be installed in the interior walls, the exterior walls, on railings, or on the roof. And it can also be used for food production. They've been certified as a heat island mitigation product, as a vegetative roof system, and as a community garden. And I don't know if anyone on the phone here has watched Big Brother, but actually the top right image is a picture of the Big Brother house, and you can see that their product was installed in the interior walls. And then the bottom is a photo from Apple's headquarters, and they have the product installed there as an interior product. I think this is something to watch in the future because I think increasingly we're going to see more of these living wall products being installed in offices and in like the common areas of multifamily buildings because of their perceived indoor air quality benefits. Next product I want to highlight is CertainTeed's membrane continuous air barrier and smart vapor retarder. This acts like a traditional vapor retarder, but also allows the closed building system envelopes to dramatically increase their drying potential with seasonal changes. It's an advanced material that changes its permeability based on the humidity conditions around it. And it's installed like what you see in this photo, this like thin, plasticky membrane. So this product we certified as a regional material because all the components that are involved in the manufacturing of the product are manufactured within a limited radius. Next two products are very, very similar, and they came to us about the same time, and they meet a similar need in the market. We've been hearing more and more that controlling humidity in multifamily housing is a challenge. It's something that's on the minds of architects, engineers, and owners. And you might have heard some of this if you've been attending some of the recent conferences like EBA or Energy Star. This is an item of discussion. And more multifamily developers are looking to add additional dehumidification systems to reduce their liability. So an example of that is UltraAir. It's an in-wall system, runs independent of the HVAC system, and it's digitally controlled and has a tamper-proof cover that makes it ideal for a multifamily application. And it's also Energy Star certified, which demonstrates its efficiency. And this product is certified under NGBS 903.31. It's in the indoor air quality section. This is a practice that specifically requires a additional dehumidification installed to maintain relative humidity. Then another very similar product is from Innovative Dehumidifier, their IW25 in-wall system. The specs are very, very similar to the UltraAir product. Innovative Dehumidifier claims to be the pioneer of fixed dehumidifiers, and they've built their business around this type of product. And then finally, last product that I'm going to highlight is Niagara Toilets. So Niagara Toilets are super duper efficient. So you can see here we've got a couple of their brand names and their corresponding sorry, flush volumes listed out. Sorry about that. So the NGBS awards points for when a 1.28 gallon toilet is installed, and then there's additional points when one or more toilets with a flush volume of 1.2 gallons installed as well. And so by comparison, these toilets are much, much more efficient, and they would be really good brand names to consider if you're especially constructing a home that's seeking higher levels of certification like gold or emerald, because at those levels, all the toilets need to be below the flush volume specified, so 1.28 or below 1.2. And with the Niagara toilets, you don't need to do any guesswork. It's going to be well below. So that's all I plan to cover today. And as always, you can feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the program. You can get my contact information from Anna.